Hey everybody, I am Renee and I'm back for part 2 of my video. So hopefully if you're here, you watched part 1 of my ultimate, we're probably wrong about everything, years in the making theory about what I think is going on with the White Walkers. And in that I said that I would come back and make another video to explain how I think part 1 will fit into season 8. Now, before I jump into it, in part 1, I mentioned that I didn't want to reference the books very much. And the reason why is because a lot of people that watch the show haven't actually read the books. I admit it, I have not read every single book cover to cover. I've read enough, but I'm one of those people that depends on other YouTubers to explain things to me. And so because of that, when making theories, I try to keep that in mind that whatever it is that they do to end this show is going to have to make sense to people that have never read the books. You have things like Bael the Bard and the 13th Lord Commander and his Ice Queen that would play into the story. But the only way that they'd really kind of be able to explain that is to use Bran's visions as a tool to give the backstory of everything. And I just really think they're going to be very specific about the flashbacks with Bran, since there's only 6 episodes left. Like, personally, I would love for Howland Reed to be part of season 8, but I feel like the only way they can kind of really incorporate him is to kind of go back and maybe show a vision of the tourney at Harrenhal and explain that he had just came from the Isle of Faces and why he was there, and kind of really give a lot of his backstory to make it make sense for him to be there. And it could be possible, cross my fingers because I really want that to happen. But like I said, I think they're just going to be really like pointed and specific about the way that they use Bran in his visions. So in my first video, I presented, I believe, a very detailed case of why I think what we've been seeing is 2 different teams of White Walkers. And then I said I would try to explain how that would tie into season 8. Now, the first part of the video is really kind of the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to get across. This part, it's just a possibility. There's so many different ways that they could decide to end the show and different ways that this could go. I'm not even going to like put my clout behind it and be like, yeah, I think this is how it's going to end. What I'm going to present to you now is just one of the many possibilities of how what my first video could fit into how it's all going to end. The army of the dead is massive in its current state, and I don't see how a battle can even happen. There's like 1,000,000 walkers, and they'll just easily overrun the humans. So the producers are going to have to come up with some way to shrink that army down significantly for mankind to have a fighting chance. I think one of the big holy shit moments of season 8 will be when we see one of the native White Walkers come out of the blue and people finally realize that there's been 2 teams of White Walkers all along. He'll use his army to help slow down the Night King's army, as well as try to trap some of the lieutenants to be killed by the humans. And since the White Walkers operate by vampire rules, killing those lieutenants will be how they'll be able to shrink the Night King's army down to size and give the humans a fighting chance. Unfortunately, the humans won't realize that the OG walkers are trying to help them. So shortly after the OGs successfully shrink down the Night King's army, humans will end up killing them too. As we know, history repeats itself in Game of Thrones. So I believe that this long night is going to end the exact same way the first one did. Now, as I said in my first video, I'm just not a big fan of the theory that the First Men and the White Walkers made a pact, and that's how they ended the long night. I believe that it was the last hero, inevitably, that was able to get control of the army of the dead and lead them back to the lands of always winter. And he's the one that's been responsible for keeping the White Walkers away for all these years to protect the realms of men. Now, before I get into it, I'll say this. I know that people are not big fans of the Bran warging theory, but I mean, it just makes sense.
Only one thing that matters. You.
And if we lose you, we lose everything.
You're a warg, Bran. It's in your blood. You got inside Hodor's mind.
I can't do that, Northall.
No one can do that. Anyway.
So they make sure to beat us upside the head with the fact that Bran is special, that he can't be lost. And then we have Jojen talking to him about the fact that he warged into Hodor and nobody else can do that. One part, of course, I think is to give us that Hodor moment, but it's also letting us know that Bran can do something that nobody else can do, warg into another person. I mean, there has to be a reason why that's so special.
I didn't have time to learn. I can't control anything.
Must learn to control it before the Night King comes. Drink. One way or another, he will find his way to the world of men. And when he does, you will be there waiting for him. And you will be ready.
So you hear about all the different warging theories with Bran, and people, I think, make it way too complicated with the whole going back in time and it was him all along and all that other stuff. I think it's probably a lot simpler than that.
You have to go after him.
How?
You know how.
It won't be easy, but when the Night King gets close enough, Bran will warg into him and take control of his army. His body will be killed by the cat's paw dagger, and now he will take over the task of leading and keeping the White Walkers away. There's, of course, a bunch of different ways that this whole warging thing could work out. If they really wanted to pull at our heartstrings, they can make it look like Bran succeeded in leading the army away, but then, like, Jon unknowingly kills his little brother, and it's sad, or something like that. But I think you get the gist. This is actually a little off topic, but since I have your undivided attention, I figure I'd throw this out there and see if you guys think this shit is just as weird as I do.
I wish you good fortune in the wars to come. I wish you good fortune in the wars to come.
Why did he have to die? He was so fine. Ugh.
Thank you, Uncle Benjen.
I wish you both good fortune.
So, the saying goes, I wish you good fortune in the wars to come. What the fuck was up with Benjen there in the look and the I wish you good fortune in the stare? Like, anybody else think that's weird? Leave me some comments. Is it just me, or does it seem like Benjen is staring into the flames? Like, not just looking, but staring into the flames.
Leaving this morning.
What was that look all about?
Left me there to die. The children found me. Stop the walker's magic from taking hold.
Why did the children leave the comfort and safety of their cave to go save Benjen? I mean, we know Benjen fits into the story because he's out there to help Bran and Jon beyond the wall, but it seems like anybody could have done that. So was there something in particularly special about Benjen?
It was you. You made the White Walkers.
We were at war. We were being slaughtered. Our sacred trees cut down. We needed to defend ourselves.
From whom?
From you. From men.
So Leaf isn't a green seer, and Bran isn't specific about anything. He just said it was you made the White Walkers, and doesn't give any details. So how the hell does Leaf know what he saw? Wouldn't that be crazy if she thought something completely different than what he actually saw? In the books, she's only 200 years old, so she wasn't around when this really happened. So that scene where she's turning the dude into the White Walker, like, it just doesn't make any sense.
The children found me. Stop the walker's magic from taking hold.
How?
The same way they made the walkers in the first place. You saw it yourself.
Dragon glass. A shard of dragon glass plunged into your heart.
You are the three-eyed raven now.
This is another scene where something isn't confirmed. Benjen says, "You saw it yourself." And Bran says, "Dragon glass in your heart." And all Benjen says is, "You're the three-eyed raven now." I think maybe Bran was wrong, and Benjen reminding him that he's the three-eyed raven now is like a hint for Bran to use his powers to go back in time to find out what really happened. Let me know what you think. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, yep, this is how it's all going to go down. I've got it all figured out, because I don't. We'll just see how it all plays out. This was just giving you an option or possibility of how the first part of my theory could possibly fit into the end of it, but I could be completely wrong, which I usually am anyway. Like I said, I'm not going to do the whole subscribe to my channel thing, because I don't do this very often. Just I get a bug up my ass sometimes and decide to make a video. But what I would love is if you left me some comments, because I really want to know what you think about the theory. I want you to poke holes in it. What did I miss? Where am I wrong? All that good stuff, because like I said, I've been thinking about this and trying to put all these different questions that I've had for all these years all together into one thing to figure out how they make a cohesive story. And I'm pretty proud of it. But other than that, hopefully, like maybe if you're rewatching the series just like I am before season 8 starts, if anything, if I'm completely wrong or whatever, at least this gives you another way to look at things or something else to be looking out for. And that's what theories are supposed to be anyway. They're supposed to be fun. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave me some comments, and other than that, I'm out, bitches. Bye.